Hi everyone, Mary at Espresso Press Design. Hope you're all doing well and beginning to enjoy your upcoming holiday. Today I'm going to do probably what I'm going to call faux resin. Apparently I lied. As I was cleaning up last week and I'm moving on to trying to come up with some ornament designs, I got inspired by some resin pendants. Well, I've been inspired by them for a while, but I'm not moving on to resin, and as much as I like my glossy medium, it takes forever to dry, so I just started playing around and came up with something else, and that is, let me get a good one here so you can see what I'm referring to, and that is these little embellishments. And what happens is you end up trying to see if you can get that bevel in there. But what ends up happening is you'll end up with a bevel, and you'll end up creating like an optical illusion that makes the image look further away. So how we're going to do that? First of all, let me show you where I am, tell you how I'm feeling. These are a few of my gift card holders. I've been coming up with my packaging for my craft show. So that's where I am. I'm feeling kind of scattered because I'm still trying to source paper to make envelopes. And then I hope I will be at the end of sourcing material. I hope. So what I came up with for my packaging, you'll never guess what this is. As I was running out of cardstock and realizing that was going to cost a fortune, I have an entire roll of construction paper. The type of construction paper you put on the floor to protect your flooring from either painting or more construction. So that's probably, and if you double it and emboss it like I did there, it's sturdy enough for packaging material, and it's going to it's probably going to match most of the things I'm going to create. And then all I have to worry about is putting on some more colorful toppers. So that's where I am. So I went out yesterday to refresh my memory about how many different weights and types of paper I could find around here. So I went to Joann's. But what you're going to need is your image and four pieces of wax paper. And what your goal is pieces I'm going to show you is to achieve this as opposed to this. So when you're making pendants or something, in the beginning I just started out with scraps that were at 100%. So then I realized I probably wanted everything to be a lot smaller so that I didn't end up with odd spacing like that. So that's what I did. I just printed. This is 100%. This is at 50%. So that's a tip. And now I have all these scraps to contend with. So what you're going to do, I generally found it was easier to start out with a small area. Probably in the beginning I began with a space about that big. And then I just took my 2 die cuts and got as many out of that as I could. So that's what I did. So, and these are on packaging material. I wanted to know if it was going to work on something like a folder. So I moved on to a folder. And that's what this is going to be on. And these are the little finished ones that haven't been die cut yet. So I'm going to move in steps. And I'm going to begin with the image. Just going on folder. I'm pretty certain that glue stick will be enough to hold the initial image. And then I'm going to move on to acrylic gloss because I want to be sure that when it dries it remains clear. Because I notice even my favorite glue can end up leaving a little bit of a haze. So I want these to remain as clear, bubble free, and wrinkle free as possible. So I'm just going to trim this. Okay. Get a palette and a little paper brush so that I can get this put on without, this is what I'm using instead of glue, because I know it's going to adhere the wax paper, and when it dries it's going to remain clear. So just going to put a thin coat on here. And this is just, and crazily, this actually makes my ink bleed. So that's not too, don't know what I feel about that, but that's what happened. I don't know if my print just wasn't dry enough, or no, it's dry enough. And it's still making it bleed a little bit. So I didn't. If that bothers you, that might be something you want to keep in mind. And I'm just brayering at the end or after 2 I didn't run it through the machine with each set, with each layer. It's up to you whether you want to or not, but probably definitely let it dry here, and it's probably going to be a lot better if you let it almost completely dry between layers 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's pretty much what I did. So I'm going to try not to get any bubbles or any wrinkles, because that results in opacity, or less opacity, maybe I should say. Don't think I want that. I'm going to try to keep the image there, but just have it fade. Create the illusion that it's receding. Okay. And I wouldn't have been going this fast. I'm pretty sure I let the layers dry longer between each layer. I'm almost positive that's what I did. Okay. So, hope you're all doing well. Okay, there's the last layer. So I'm going to put that aside to dry. Like, I don't know. Make sure that I'm getting a wrinkle in there because I have too much moisture. Don't want that. Don't want bubbling. Okay. So that's what it's going to end up. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry. These are dry. Some are better than others, but I kept them all anyway because I needed one to cut out for you, one to die cut for you. So I'm going to go die cut one of these, and I'll be right back. I'm going to die cut that one, and I'll be right back. I have absolutely no room on my table. That's why. Okay. So I'm going to die cut that and try not to get any pattern from my crappy plate on top. So I'm putting a protective piece over the top. I have to order another set of plates. I'm not using my new plates for die cutting. So there, maybe you can see that bevel a little better along the edge. I hope so. Okay. So now I'm just going to show how I inked it. And probably give my Easter commentary as much as this pains me to do. Okay, I used vintage photo and then I used a gray. And I also probably used broken twig because I haven't got, I would have used walnut stain is what I would have used. So I'm going around there and I'm just going around the edge. Because, and then I'm going in slightly because in the center I want it to remain clear, but along the edge I want to keep going with the optical illusion. So something like this one turned out about the best as far as the illusion. Okay, and then I chose a gray. I can't remember the name of that. Is it soot? Black soot, or I can't remember the name of the Tim Holtz one. They never have Tim Holtz inks in any of the craft stores around here. They have the oxides. So whenever I want Tim Holtz ink, I have to order it. And I usually just buy the neutrals. And I choose a different brand for card making. So I would, there's a few I would like. I definitely would like walnut stain. It's on the list. So I just kept going around there until it got as dark as I wanted. And it was looking more and more like a watch crystal. It's a crystal, right? A watch face. Okay. So that's what I wanted. So then I took one of my pens, and this is Uchida Deco Color Premium Oil-Based Opaque Metallic Paint Marker. And this really does keep its shine, and it is probably one of the best things I ever bought. Because it makes my life a lot easier. And getting out gold paint or gold anything else, or silver. It's not going anywhere. I guess probably the biggest drawback is the odor. So if paint fumes bother you, be prepared for that. It smells like spray paint. So that is how they ended up. And then if I had any leftover little pieces that were worth cutting out, of course I cut them out because I'm crazy. And that is pretty much how you do those. Very easy. And then as I was cleaning up, like for instance this, if there was a little snippet that was worth keeping, and that was, I was sure was adhered, because sometimes when you're spreading glue you don't get out to the edges far enough. So of course I will keep something like that. Don't ask me why, really, I don't know at this point. I have more scraps than I know what to do with. There's that. There's that. Another piece. Okay. So just in between, and some of them, if you're going to do this between each layer, like I said, this is still quite wet. If you're going to press between each layer, let's see, I did that a little too quickly, and I can tell I'm getting some wrinkling there and some cloudiness, and I really don't want that. But, so just wait a little bit between each layer. So in the end, it was my image. This time I wanted black and white. My images, I reduced them. This is 50%. And my shape, which I chose to stick with round. I don't have straight edge circles, just scalloped. I really wanted a punch, but I didn't think it was going to go through. And then in the end, the die cut worked better because it gave me the bevel. That was just a happy accident. So that's what happened. And that's what I came up with for this week, even though I thought I was finished with wax paper, and I still might not be done with wax paper. So that's about it. And just a little commentary here. I'm pretty much like a creative Dr. Spock. Both sides of my brain are equal. So I know that's how I am, and that's the only way I can be. And probably the last thing I can be is bubbly. But should I wear any emotion on my sleeve? Probably not. So I appreciate every comment. But in my humble opinion, it's always best to keep the product of your own labor as your own property and under your own purview, rather than be subject to the winds of technology or industrialization, because neither produces or creates and both destroy in the end. So in my humble opinion, the first castle I should guard is my own. How do I know that? Along with many other people who learned that lesson in the expensive school of experience. Eventually you'll prefer and seek out the corner bakery rather than the store-bought cookies in the cookie aisle. You only get fooled into thinking that the cookie aisle is where you're supposed to be, because that's where the shoppers are for their own convenience. Convenience is another word for whimsy. And that's part of the labor of love that I wanted to share with small business when I began this journey of switching focus from corporate to small business and commercial design. Corporate wasn't where I wanted to spend the twilight of my career. So in the end, to increase or give actual value, you'll either create exclusivity or scarcity. That, in essence, divides the rich from the poor. Truth becomes the opinion of the powerful. Beauty becomes a commodity, or pattern, or a pattern, and goodness all but disappears. So in my heart, I know which side most of us are going to end up on. And I can prove that in one sentence. Facebook becomes Twitter. YouTube becomes Shorts. You become a feather in the wind. In the end, how's it going to end up? In my humble opinion, it's kind of like the movie Forrest Gump, the running scene. He begins by himself under his own power and inclination, then gathers a crowd, becomes a sensation, before eventually stopping and saying, I think I'll just go home now. But where is home? That used to be my favorite movie until I got the underlying message and I never watched it again, because I know for certain that you are not just a feather in the wind. I don't spend much time divulging in media, especially corporate media. Most of the time I rely on one photograph to spur my own creativity. I don't need every sense to be engaged. When that happens, I find myself in a mindless stupor. I usually know it's time to just take a walk. And you know who figured that out long before anyone, probably? The writers, the musicians, the photographers, and the artists. The artist often expresses what the philosopher can't. So if I can see that train coming, but someone else can't, that's not exactly my problem. It's their problem. Meanwhile, the pendulum swings and the clock ticks. What's it gonna be? In my humble opinion, it's your creative spirit. And that's what I always hope to foster. So, happy Easter, everyone. I'll see you next time. Have a great week. I hope you'll try this out. Next time probably won't be Easter, and it might not be until after that, because I'm planning hopefully a photography getaway, so I don't know when the actual next time will be. But I hope you enjoy your holiday, and I certainly hope you come back. Have a great one. Bye.